talked to Stuart on the way back home.
Did you see the DEA meeting?
No, that's the one he told me about.
Stuart's sick.
Well, apparently they didn't listen to us.
I think we should wait till
Everybody's here.
Sarah gets one and Christian is here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right?
Good evening.
That's fine.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
evening. This is a lively bunch here tonight. Thank you for being here. And welcome to the regularly scheduled City Council meeting for it's February 26th, 2024. I am Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Salvia, filling in for Mayor Bixson tonight. He is not feeling well. So thank you for all being here. I'm sure he is watching. This is only the third time in 26 years he has ever missed a City Council meeting. So we have lots of exciting things happening tonight. So as we have called the meeting to order right now at the top, I want to swear in our new council member, Sarah King. So Sarah, if you could join me up front.
She gets a big crowd to be sworn in. Aren't you lucky?
All right, so you want to face me and raise your right hand. Okay. Sarah King, do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
I solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the City of Rochester Charter,
the City of Rochester Charter,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
for the City of Rochester
for the City of Rochester
for an unexpired term
for an unexpired term
ending November 24th, 2025,
ending November 24th, 2025,
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, a picture, sure.
When I was coming out, I guess I didn't realize that we were doing this for Ed. I thought, why are there so many?
Why is somebody right?
Am I getting recalled? I just know.
Okay, what is next on tonight's exciting agenda? Oh, that's a great idea. Roll call.
Mayor Stuart Bixson, Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Salvia,
Here.
Councilmember Hauser, Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember King,
Here.
Councilmember Sage,
Here.
Councilmember Trent.
Here.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So tonight we have several scheduled presentations, and we also are going to add a presentation regarding our retiring K-9 units. But first, we want to have a resolution recognizing Ed Kane on his retirement. Ed and Pat, I don't know if you would like to come forward, but first let me read this into the record. So this is a resolution to recognize Edward Kane on his retirement from the Rochester Post Office. Whereas the City of Rochester and its residents honor Edward Kane for his 56 years of service at the Rochester Post Office from December 7th, 1967 through February 29th, 2024. Whereas the City of Rochester recognizes Edward Kane for serving the people of the community and the City of Rochester honorably and with dedication. Now therefore be it resolved, the City of Rochester Council hereby expresses its sincere gratitude to Edward Kane for his service to the city and all of our residents for so many years. Thank you. I also have a comment that was sent to me by Dave Zemmons, and this is so wonderful. He says, Ed is and has been an absolute institution at the post office. He is the Rochester Post Office. And he always will be. Congratulations, Ed and Pat. You deserve the best that all life has to offer. Dave Zemmons. So if you would like to come forward, Ed. Would you like to say something?
Just a few words. Well, the group that I started with, you know, I consider them the old bunch. And they were more concerned with the sanctity of the meal, which we maintained. And then the people of Rochester always thought they were working for a government agency, what they were back then. But really, they were working for me. So, my job over the years, and I hope I did it, was to take all the care of all of you.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of you for coming. Take time out of your schedules and to be here tonight. Much appreciated. Very kind, thoughtful.
We love you.
Let me back up here for a minute.
And Pat and Ed, while we're doing that, we're going to have a duplicate plaque made and take it to the post office. And I'm sure they'll keep that in the lobby forever. So.
We want all your fans to see it. I say Old Town Road should be changed to. There you go.
Kane Lane, that's got a good ring to it.
I did.
Attorney Kratz said, how about Ed Kane Lane?
Oh my goodness. All right, so now we're going to move on to, yes? Oh, public comment. Or
Can we do
Councilmember
that?
Steve, would you like to say something?
Can we do that?
Sure.
I'll
Why
make the
not?
motion to change Old Town.
That you can't do. Wow. That's good government, yeah.
That would have been a fast dinner.
All right, so speaking of retirements, we have some more retirements. For those of you who don't know, what I do for a living is help people retire as a financial advisor. So I'm like, this is kind of cool that's what I get to do tonight, is to recognize some more retirements. So tonight, we're also going to recognize Canine Kit and Canine Pearl. So if they could come forward. And if I could also have Chief Steve come forward. I need some help. We've got a lot of plaques.
I stole your
Sergeant
post and put it
Knight.
on mine about the dogs.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was good. We share. Yeah, I think it says it can't be share, but I don't think I even, until I guess I didn't read the agenda.
All right.
They're not on. They're not on.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so Sergeant Knight, tonight, we are going to recognize that we are retiring our two beloved canines. So let me just read this resolution. So whereas Canine Kit retired from the City of Rochester Police Department on July 28th, 2023, after almost 7 years of service. So we all know 7 years of dog time is times 7, so that's almost 50 years of service. So they're getting close to you, Ed. You still got the record. Whereas Canine served as a loyal member of the department, and whereas during his years of service, Canine Kit was committed to keeping the city of Rochester and surrounding communities safe for residents, business owners, and visitors. And whereas Kit, a dual-purpose parole and narcotics detection canine, had a reputation for being a superior tracking dog, and often sought out for special cases. And this is really cool. And during Canine Kit's first week of service, confiscated enough forfeiture money to pay for his entire training. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Rochester Council, all of our residents, administration hereby express its sincere gratitude for Canine Kit for his years of service to the City of Rochester, and we hereby transfer the ownership to Sergeant Michael Knight. You've got your hands full, you've got your hands full. That's okay. 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 You ready for Pearl? Okay. Congratulations, Pearl. You're a little bit younger. So, whereas Canine Pearl retired from the City of Rochester Police Department on January 1st, 2024, after almost 5 years of service. Whereas Canine Pearl served as a loyal member of the department, and whereas during her years of service, Canine Pearl was committed to keeping the City of Rochester and surrounding communities safe for residents, business owners, and visitors. And in her role as an explosive detective canine, was on the scene at Oxford High shortly after the shooting, and was instrumental in clearing the school by making sure it was safe from any explosive devices. Therefore, be it resolved that Rochester City Council, all of our residents, the city administration, hereby express its sincere gratitude to Canine Pearl for her years of service to the City of Rochester. And the City of Rochester hereby transfers ownership to Lindsay Knight. Lindsay, I heard this was a surprise.
Great surprise. Thank you.
Thank you. We know this is really a family affair. While the dogs were in service, it was really the family. And now they get to continue to enjoy their retirement. Come on, guys.
Got a good photo.
Yeah, if I could just add for a second, I mean, one of the things that people, I think, kind of underestimate when it comes to canine teams is, you know, if a police officer comes to work, he takes the calls that come his way and answers the radio and then gets to go home, and that's it until the next day. But with a canine officer, they're training every single day. Regardless of whether it's an off day or a work day, they're working all the time. And there's that team behind the scenes that are also working in the care and the feeding and making sure that they're ready to go to work every day. So the Knight family is certainly responsible for the success of these two canines and everything that they've been able to bring to the city and to the area. Because they don't always just help here. They've been essential in helping various departments all around the metropolitan area, whether it be for narcotic searches or tracking, and as we talked about for the explosive detection work all over the area. So certainly my thanks to the Knight family as well as Kit and Pearl. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Chief George could not be here tonight either. He's out sick as well, so thank you.
Christian too. Thanks, Christian. Oh my God. I wanted to thank Ed, so I just wanted to. Can I?
Why we do what we do, right?
I would, Madam Mayor Pro Tem,
Everyone is welcome to stay, or we'll pause the meeting for a few moments to clear the council chambers.
I was going to thank Ed, but I guess it's too late.
they were my neighbors for,
Then just wait. You have the agenda? Okay. Yeah.
I guess I could just go down there and thank them, huh?
Oh, they're rushing home to catch it because Nancy gave them
There's going to be no one left.
the 5-minute head start. They'll be right back there. Don't you worry.
Well, we're still in public comments, so we could have them come up.
It's great that the whole post office
He's
did.
he's such a dog person, so he'd always ask me about my.
If anyone would like to make additional public comments, specifically regarding the resolutions we've just made, you'll be welcome to make them when we resume the meeting.
Radio for one.
Or just send Ed a letter. FedEx. Thanks, Marilyn. Thanks.
Only have one of the knitting ladies tonight.
I'm just another pretty face.
Yeah. They're not all this fun, Sarah. Nobody's here for us. They're here for us. This is cool. All right, so we're gonna take a few more public comments. So I know there's a few people here who would still like to make a couple public comments. I know. There is no control. It's all about Ed. Yep. How are you? Totally fine by me. I will. I'll call.
oh, they're not. Okay, no one wants to.
Is
Okay.
it Brian? Who's on there? Okay. Rose, do we have any additional public comments from the Zoom?
Yeah, Nick's in this.
have to,
Rose, I can't hear you.
yeah, you might have to unmute, Rose.
Or volume. I see your screen flashing, but we'll come back to the Zoom public comment. We see Councilmember Hauser is there via remote. He cannot vote, but he is there.
Marcy, yeah,
So we're going to take any other public comments on items that are not on our agenda, or something that just happened on our agenda, if someone would like to make a public comment on that.
nope, Rose is good.
Okay, so we have no public comments from the Zoom. Do we have anyone who is still here? It feels awful empty in here after all those people left. Does anyone else here have public comments regarding anything that is not on the agenda?
Hi, and good evening. Just one real quick thing. Can we make sure that all the meetings are actually on the calendar? Because some of the meetings weren't on the calendar in the past month. So, just so everybody knows ahead of time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so moving on for public comments, we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes.
Madam,
Yes?
I wanted to say this, I know Ed is gone. When I first moved to Rochester in 1990, Ed and Pat Kane were my neighbors, and it was nice to see a friendly face at the post office that lived down the block from me. So I really appreciated his service all these years, and I wanted to say that.
Thank
And
you,
them being
thank you.
neighbors. Yeah,
He's
that was-
amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Any other comments from council? Okay, all right, moving on. Approval of the minutes. We have 2 minutes in our packet, the special meeting of January 20th, 2024, and the regular meeting of January 22nd, 2024. I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by
To approve,
Councilmember
yes.
Stage. Support by Councilmember Trent. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Debbie Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Sarah King,
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Sage,
Yes.
Councilmember Marilyn Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, approval of the consent agenda. We have one item on our consent agenda. It is consideration to approve Pride in the Park event. What is the date of that event?
It is, let's see, June. It's in the application, we'll find it.
Yep, I'm close.
June 22.
June 22nd.
June 22nd. Council?
Motion to approve with comment?
Motion by Councilmember Sage.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Trent. Discussion.
The only item I would add is with this, the events calendar, that we could add Founder's Day again in March and the Greater Rochester Heritage Day Festival in May.
And
Okay.
March is, what day in March?
March
I'll be
10th.
March
telling
10th.
everyone at the end of the meeting.
Okay, well, I'll hang on the edge of my seat.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage.
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 7, we have no old business, we have no tabled items, we have no public hearings, we have no legislative deliberation. What do we have? Well, item 10, we have reports and regular business. So item A, we are under consideration to request to set a public hearing. This is for a special project and site plan approval for 210 Diversion Street. Council.
Madam Mayor, if you would like me to help with some context. So, over the last 6 months, I think, Planning Commission has worked with Mr. Joe LaChurco and his team on 2 projects. They're both on the curve, if you will, on diversion where it turns into South Street by the bridge. It's been a really give and take. Councilman Sage can relate to this from the Planning Commission when he was there about the project. So, one of the projects is a 4-story building up against the bridge, apartments, really trendy, cool apartments. The other one is 2 5-story buildings that are along the river and a big detention pond, which you will see all those details when we have it. What happened was at the Planning Commission meeting, we were ready to have our public hearing, and then we would have had the developer come tonight to make the initial presentation, but we couldn't get a quorum, which we're going to fix tonight with some of our appointments. And then at the next, so in order to keep this in rhythm, to be fair to the developer, we thought we'd ask to set the public hearing for a month from now. So they will come to that meeting, make a full presentation if council's ready that evening. Remember, the Planning Commission will act on the site plan. You guys will act on these special projects. So if you do not approve the special project, then the site plan would be null and void. So we separate them at that point, but they've got a great presentation, fly-throughs of the buildings. It'll get everybody up to speed really well before you have to make a decision. And if that night you still have questions, it's not a problem, but we'll have advertised it properly so that we can have a discussion.
Right, so we're looking to set a public hearing for March 25th.
Correct, for the next 2 items, A and B.
Do we need to do those separately?
Separately, yes, please.
Okay, so for item A, we're looking for a motion for a public hearing on March 25th. Councilmember Trent.
I'd like to say something about this. Yes, I'm willing to go forward with this because I think a lot of us, myself for sure, has been watching the Planning Commission meetings, and I have seen these presentation of their site plans and their presentations, the developers. And so I would say that I would not mind doing it in this way, and I understood last time they didn't have a quorum.
Very good.
It wasn't their fault.
I can just add some commentary as well. I was at the last Planning Commission meeting, still on Planning Commission, and I was really impressed with the final project. We were, I think, fairly critical in the beginning of the mass of the project and the style of it. The developer really took that feedback from the Planning Commission on a couple of occasions, and I think what they came back to the table with is something that's much more fitting of the community and will serve the community well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the project. But they had everything. It was just a matter of not having all of the people. And I think they answered most of the questions that were the commissioners had.
Right, right. Yeah, and certainly council will have lots of opportunity to elaborate on this, as well as encourage all council members to review the Planning Commission videos online.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion on
March 25th.
10A to request, or to set a public hearing for the next.
For March 25th.
March 25th?
That's a motion by Councilmember King,
I'll support.
support by Councilmember Jones.
And then I will make a motion for the consideration of the request.
Well, no, we have to
Let's
vote
act
on
on it.
this.
Oh,
We have to
We're gonna
vote
vote
on
one at
this.
a time, yep.
Thank you,
Sorry.
thank you. I appreciate everyone jumping in. Appreciate it. All right. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage.
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, public hearing for March 25th. Item B, this is the consideration, very similar to item A, to set a public hearing for the special project and site plan approval for 110 Diversion Street and 110 and 100 South Street, otherwise known as the Preserves. So again, this would be, again, looking for council to set a public hearing. We can have lots of discussion at that public hearing as well.
Okay.
Counsel?
I will make a motion for the public hearing for the special project at 110 Diversion Street, 110 and 100 South Street for March 25th.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Jones,
I'll support.
support by Councilmember Trent. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage.
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have some public hearings on March 25th. All right, item D, consideration of a request to approve a letter of support for the Oakland County Eagle Hazardous Substance Fund Grant application to provide the requested compliance statement. This is for the Riverfront Place project located 211 First Street. City Manager?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Timing's everything. So I think we talked about a little while ago that at the end of December, the Eagle representatives, through Michelle Bakun, who's our representative with the Brownfield Authority, reached out to us and said that they would look favorably on an application for a $1 million grant, which would be our third $1 million grant. We've got one for the elevator. These are given to the city to clean up hazardous waste sites. And this time, they had a little bit of criteria more. They wanted to rehabilitate or take down an industrial facility and induce some type of low-density residential, which fit right into where we were headed with the Planning Commission and the Solaronics site, not knowing what the outcome of that would be, but that is a hazardous site and met the criteria. We submitted that to Eagle, and they have met with the developer, and that's going down a good path on its own. It's not guaranteed. It's got to get through Planning Commission, Brownfield Authority, all that good stuff. So, in the meantime, the Randazzo Group, which had originally been approved 3 years ago for 134 apartment buildings in a two-phase development and 17 townhomes down by the river, when they got their environmental deep dive, came back at not $400,000 worth of bad dirt, it was $1.79 million. So, building cost, that was a deal breaker. So I'll give them a lot of credit. They were very diligent in approaching the city. Is there any way we could look to get another grant or some kind of help? So what we did as city council is we supported a brownfield request to them. If they were to build, then again, they would use their own money to pay up front, and over 7 years, the brownfield would pay them back. So we went through that process and we had that approved. Even with that, it still was a fine line. So they dug in and they went to everybody they could and got to the county. The county has a brownfield authority, and we'll just say it's a unique opportunity where when we talked to Eagle, they said each city can only apply for one a year. So we said, well, we have applied for our one. They said, but the county can ask for a second one in the city if you'll allow them, but you still run it all. It's like, okay, can we get another $1 million to help clean up a dirty site? Great. So tonight, they're asking for a resolution of support to submit through the county another $1 million grant on top. That would be our fourth if we got that. So staff is in favor of that. They've done a lot of due diligence. They've met with Eagle 3 times already, and there's an opportunity possibly there, and that would trigger that development to get going. So we're looking for a letter of support, to approve the letter of support tonight, and then we'll pass that on. No guarantees, but that'll give them a fair shot at bringing in another $1 million to the city of Rochester to clean up contaminated land.
So, City Manager, if you could just clarify the difference between a brownfield grant and a regular brownfield.
Great. So I'll give you the best example I can give is on the Rewald site. So the Eagle set aside a pot of money throughout the state. And I think what happened is not enough communities reached out for that money. So it's a flat-out grant. So they say to the city, we will give you $1 million for the cleanup. Versus there's another pot of money at the Brownfield Authority at the state that the cities can apply for, and then it has to be approved by the city's Brownfield Authority where they can approve a designated work plan. It's got to go through myriads of environmental engineers, et cetera. And for that, they would say, in Rewald's case, there was $2 million of cleanup. So they got $1 million free dollars, if you will, and then a $1 million loan or actual brownfield. So the way you pay that back is when the building is built, it goes on the tax roll. The taxes that they generate, so they have to pay everything up front, the $1 million up front. When the taxes come in, the city and the Brownfield Authority agreed to a certain period of time. In this case, it was 7 years. And then that would allow us to take their own taxes and reimburse them for all the expenses that are reimbursable by Eagle. So in that case, and I think part of the reason we're doing well here is because that was supposed to be a 7-year brownfield. And at the end of 7 years, then all the taxing jurisdictions get their money back. In that case, we did 5.8 and got it done. So Eagle was very impressed with that. We spent a little less than the $2 million, which again, that keeps money in both pots, the big pot for the brownfield cleanups and the state grant program. So the difference is on a brownfield plan, they use their own dollars to clean up, but a grant is basically free money. So it's a huge
So bottom
incentive.
line for the city is we would get our tax dollars sooner.
That is correct. So it shortens it, right? If they might ask for a longer, thank you, that could have been more succinct, right? So that's exactly correct. We'll leave it at that.
Any other questions from council? Councilmember King?
Yes, for this project specifically, so the Eagle grant is $1 million, and then how much did they receive from the Brownfield Commission?
The total cleanup, I think, was 1.976 million. So this would knock into that, which would help reduce the years before we get our money back.
So almost would cut it in half.
And then it would
Basically
free up
correct.
money for a different cleanup?
Correct.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
Councilmember Jones?
I just have a question. Why would it free up money for a different cleanup? Explain that.
So the pot of money that they have is X amount of dollars, but instead of them asking for a $2 million grant, they asked for $1 million, because they already committed to the Brownfield, it saves Eagle $1 million that they could use elsewhere in the state. So they're trying to keep them at $1 million. They don't have to, but that's been the number pretty much, so that they can share them with other communities. And they expect to have the pot reimbursed again. The feds have been pretty good about dumping money into Michigan and bad sites, because we have a lot of water, that you're trying to protect that water, so.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to forward a letter of support to Eagle for the grant application.
It's a motion by Councilmember Sage,
Support.
support by Councilmember Trent, and I believe we have a, what I think I would call public comment from Councilmember Hauser, who's on the Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is Christian Hauser. Unfortunately, I can't be there today, but I could just tell you that this is such a wonderful opportunity for the city. And for us to be able to get this kind of money through the grant, it helps everyone. It helps the developer, it helps the city, it helps the residents. So to the extent that city council is going to move forward, that if I was there, I would support this 100%. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hauser. Glad you could chime in on that, because with your background, so I appreciate you doing that. Other public comment? Good to see you.
Great to be here. Didn't expect that many people when I walked in. Mike Spiz, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. I happen to sit on the Brownfield Authority for the county also. But if you're looking for letters of recommendation, if you'd like one from me, as
Yes.
a county commissioner, to help support this project, I'd be more than happy
That'd be great.
to issue one.
We would be
Just
thrilled. Thank you.
If you could send me some information so I could draft a letter, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage.
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you want to go back to 10C, the appointments?
Appointments?
Oh, I did skip that. Yes. Let's go back to item 10C. All right, so I'll say this as the mayor and I would like to make some appointments. So from a protocol standpoint, we're going to make the appointments, and then I'm going to ask council to vote on these tonight. We could delay the vote, but we just scheduled some public hearings, and we need to fill our planning commission, and that's some of the appointments. So that's the protocol that I hope we can use tonight. So for the Planning Commission, we would like to appoint Jessica Clauser, I believe she's here, Dan Bachman. So those two seats to Planning Commission. To the DDA, Bob DiTomaso. To RARA, Dave Berklich as the citizen to RARA. Councilmember Sarah King to RARA. And then to PSD, Councilmember Debbie Jones. So if I could have a roll call vote on that, please.
Just a regular vote. Just a regular, we want to just do it through regular, all at once, we can do it? Okay, cool.
Unless someone wants it separated.
Yeah, unless anybody wants it separated, you all good? Okay, great.
Good.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage,
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so someone from city administration will reach out to all of those?
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. We already have, actually, just in case they got approved.
Okay, great. Clear your calendar. Please be at the Planning Commission. Okay, all right, moving on to item E. This is a consideration for the service agreement with Rochester Hills Museum. This was actually a bring back. So I just wanted to thank administration for clarifying. This was mine to bring back to add the two general ledger items. So this meets the criteria of what I was looking for. Council. Councilmember Trent.
Yes, I'm very excited about this. I've been excited about it from the beginning. So I am very happy to see that we have gotten a good service agreement with the Rochester Hills Museum and for everything that they do for our city. Mhm. That's what I like to say.
Is that a motion?
Oh, well,
Councilmember Jones.
I just need clarification again about
Sure.
the finding. Even the letter is a little confusing to me, frankly. So just one more time about the 40,000 and then DDA putting in the 15,000, if you can just do one more.
Absolutely.
So
So,
the public understands.
absolutely. So this is a three-legged stool, if you will, the partnership between the city, the DDA, historic folks. So as you know, over the years, or you don't know, over the years, we've done archiving of a lot of the historical materials. And Pat and his staff have been amazing, but it's a ongoing agreement. And then all the other things they do, whether it's tours downtown, whether it's the signage that they do on the post downtown, whether it's the museum, the tours around town. So it's been a partnership, and the Hills have pretty much been footing that bill. So we've only paid for the archival part of the $10,000. So last fall, I believe, Pat came in with Ken Allworth, their Parks and Rec folks, and said, we love you guys, but we would really could use some financial help to stabilize our staff so that we can use them for more than just part-time activities. So that ended up being an extra $30,000. So we talked to the DDA in the city, and we knew what could we split this up as a partnership so they would pay some, we would pay some. In total, $40,000. $30,000 new dollars, but to go along with the archival. So that's where the split came, 1525.
So and then ours is 25.
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
can I just make a motion?
Councilmember Trent?
Unless anyone has anything else to say, I'd just like to make a motion to approve the service agreement with the Rochester Hills Museum. I believe it's for 2 years, for 40,000.
3.
Three years. Okay, for 3 years.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Trent,
I'll support.
support by Councilmember Jones. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage,
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item F. This is a consideration of a request to approve a HVAC improvement for City Hall. It is a little chilly in here tonight. By Rochester Plumbing and Heating. So I'm not sure, I see Jason back there. Who from administration? City Manager, you want to start?
Yep, I'm going to start this, and Jason here. So it's a bug going around. I think Alex also under the weather this evening. So between Jason and Anthony and I, we can cover this. So I think you're not surprised by this. This City Hall has been put together by duct tape for quite a long time. And we've talked about it at our goals and objective meeting that it's about time we do something, not knowing what the future is about the admin building and all that good stuff. Still, this building is going to stay here. We're not going to demolish it ever. So I think there's 9 different heating elements in this building. There's boilers, there's forced air, there's things that don't work. We haven't had heat upstairs for over a month and a half because the boiler, everybody trying their best, taking out tiles, putting in heat pumps, anything they can do, we can't get it to work right. So Jason took the time. We had Rochester Plumbing, who's been our contractor. There are internal people that do work. So we bid out work before with them, but they are our experts and know this system better than anything. Jason spent a lot of time crawling around these ceilings with them and outside, and we have heat units that have to cool down the air conditioners. And the air conditioners have to cool down the heating units. They don't overheat. All the zones are messed up. And lucky it was a warm winter because the ladies up front have had space heaters almost all winter. It's been, not that we couldn't, that no one could figure it out. So it became time to, as Anthony put it, if it would have been a really cold February, we would have been here on an emergency and said, we just have to do this. There's nothing we can do about it. So Jason went through this methodically, and this is the solution to redo all of City Hall. So no matter what happens here, this is a fix that will last 20 to 30 years. If you'd like a little more detail, Jason can give you that.
Yes, Jason, if you could just explain what it is that we're looking to do here.
Yeah, so the boiler system currently covers the council chambers, the lobby, and a portion of upstairs City Hall, which is not working, and that was the beginning of the investigation. And then at some point, it seemed like we were gonna have to rip down ceilings and pull blocks out of walls and try to, because nobody has the old piping map from when it was put together. So by putting these 3 new furnaces in, a new AC unit that's supposed to operate during the winter time. So right now, the boiler heat is at the level of the thermostat. And then the AC cooling in here, it levels each other out. So we're gonna do away with that fighting, and it's gonna be all one forced air unit. So this area will be one furnace, the lobby, the restrooms, upstairs Marcy's area, the front office. And then there was a bad furnace from over a year ago, but the other furnaces in the north area by Nick and Randy and them, it was covering. So we're gonna fix all that. Then the IT room next door to the council chambers is full of communications that are heating up. And because of the mix of fight, it's never had its own. It needs to have its own. And then talking with George, they've been putting personal cooling systems in the IT room in the police department, and it can't keep up. The amount of IT equipment in there is just, you walk in, it's like a sauna, and that thing is running 24/7. So this is gonna clean everything up. Everything will be forced air and AC. And all of the units we are getting are mirroring what we have, so we have one train unit, so it'll be easy to maintain it throughout the future.
And then Jason worked with Anthony to look through where we would be able to afford this and how to fund it. So they got sign off from Treasury that we have adequate funds, and actually found some dollars from something we didn't have to spend on this building. And luckily we didn't, and it was $8,000 or $9,000 more dollars that goes towards this, which will help also.
And Rochester Plumbing, all their investigative work up until this point, they waived that and put
Fee.
it towards the repair. So they've been here for like 3 months for free. So, you know, I appreciate them. They called the old Rochester Plumbing and Heating staff to come and try to help them figure it out. And they said, you guys really should try to just replace all this and do away with it. So part of your packet is what will be removed, what will be replaced, the upgrades, and then that should set us for a long future.
And so I see the request for 51,000, and what is the timing of and availability of the units?
I told him if council approves today, I'm gonna text him tonight. He'll have the parts ordered and start in less than a week.
Councilmember Jones?
A couple quick questions, or comment. First off, I can't believe you've gone this long. So thank you for trying to save the city money by waiting so long to fix it. What would be the life on this?
It's
Give or
30, 40 years.
Oh, okay. I'll probably not be here anymore. Literally.
I don't say that.
Not just right here. That's great, okay. And then.
You never know.
Never know.
I thought you were gonna beat Pat Kane's record.
Well, I might, I'll try. And then specifically, where did the funding come from, if you could share that,
Yep, Anthony.
Yeah, it's coming, so we set up a few years ago a facilities and grounds revolving fund. So that is a fund that we put money into, and it's gonna come out of that, and the capital projects has the excess fund. So that is all gonna come out of the fund balance in facilities.
Sounds perfect. All right, that's it, thanks.
Just a quick question.
Councilmember King?
Yeah. With it, you mentioned the fund balance will come out of the capital projects. So is that, we've been, during the budgeting sessions we've been having, there's a bunch of capital projects that we're considering. So does it take from kind of the pool?
No,
There.
and actually we used to, before we started the fund, we actually had a capital projects fund where everything went through. When we created the facilities revolving fund, it made the fund non-existent, because there was nothing that we were doing that wasn't equipment or vehicles that came out of the revolving equipment fund. Then all of the projects, whether it was grounds, the parks, all of that's in the new facilities fund. So then the old capital projects fund has just been idling there, and there's been, the only activity that's still there, just because that's where the GL was when it was set up, is every time Nick sells a bench.
Money coming in?
The bench goes,
I think
the money sits in the capital fund. It doesn't even have any activity, and we're gonna probably be closing it at some point soon, and then just moving that money into facilities, because that's where every project we were doing was in the facilities.
Yeah, we've talked about
They were
that.
all facilities, so, yeah.
Okay. And then my only other question, I see there was one quote here. Did we talk to anybody else?
So normally we do 3 quotes. In this case, because of the relationship, there wasn't, Jason, you can answer that. Yeah,
Well,
better.
it was all the prior dedication to, I mean, basically, they spelled this out for us. So their hard work and giving up the work that they done previous, putting into the repair, and the timing, we need to do this fast. So normally I would not do this like this. I would build the quote myself with someone, then send it out and try to get multiple quotes. We were just trying to make it as speedily as, I mean, it's gonna be 3 or 4 months to get another quote.
Right, in the
That
case,
was the other
yeah.
issue we ran
Yeah,
into. is
time.
Everyone else, they were like, I'm weeks out to even come start looking. They don't know the floor plan, they don't
Right.
know.
Institutional knowledge.
They don't know how any of this is set up, so there was cost even to get some investigations and quotes from the other ones, so.
So we are committed to always going out to bid when practical, but in this case,
Okay.
the history was there. But normally you'll always see 3 bids.
Yeah, and the emergency side, because if this was where we were having the sub-temperatures, it would have been a note in the manager's report. We would have been like, we cannot lose this building and pipes. We authorized emergency, spent the 50,000, and we need to get it done now. But the electric heaters have been sort of keeping up, so we've been managing that.
City manager, didn't we talk about this in the past where there is part of our procedures where, with council's approval, it can be basically what I would call a single source or single bid?
Yes, ma'am.
And so we are kind of the check and balance on that?
Correct.
You know, so we are following procedure?
Correct.
By bringing it to council?
You have that authorization at all times. We try not to, just for scrutiny, but absolutely you have that authority.
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, Councilmember King. What my understanding is, Rochester Heating and Plumbing, you have a relationship, you've had a long-term relationship, relationship with, is my understanding. Yeah, because I mean.
Decades, literally.
Because we've used them before. I've always felt like they were fair, and they would be coming in just to oversight. They were usually the lowest price, so, and they did good work. I do know that for a home. So I would say I'm glad that we discussed it because people do ask, so thank you.
Councilmember Sage?
I guess I'll make the motion, please, to approve the $51,000 expenditure to replace the HVAC system.
Motion by Sage.
I'll support.
Support by Trent. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Sage,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's get some heating and cooling in this building.
Everyone in the front office and chambers will be very happy in another couple of weeks.
Well, it's a safety issue. You can't be running all those
Yeah.
extra units.
I think it was 2 weeks ago at planning commission, it was like 90 in here, and now, we're going like the opposite direction. I don't ever know what to wear.
I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. I'm sure it's not.
This
on
was a
purpose.
good move.
Good
I'll
job.
try to rush them so you can get a little bit of heat, and then we'll be cramming the air on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so hot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item G, we have the receipt of the check register reports. Any discussions or questions on that? I see none. Moving on to item F11, which is the report from our various boards and commissions. We'll start with item A. Councilmember Sage, we have the Paint Creek Trailways Commission.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Quick update on Bridge 31.7. So the plan specs and all the bid documents, those will all be finalized and submitted by October of this year, of 2024. The official award of the grants will be in January of 2025. Construction slated for March of 2025 with an estimated completion in early September, I think. So we just need to start preparing for that.
For the Labor Day walk?
So the impact on the trails during the summer will be big.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else from Trailways?
Just a quick question
No.
for you. Where is Bridge 31.7?
It is basically almost at the end of our portion of the Paint Creek Trail. So as you're going north, it's right past Tinkin, or no, not even before, it's before that.
It's south of Tinkin.
South of Tinkin,
Yeah.
yeah. Before you get to Tinkin, that's our bridge.
So will it close?
Past
will that-
Ludlow.
Right
will
off
we-
Ludlow.
Will the trail be closed then
Oh,
from
yeah,
March
well,
to September or
we've-
some timeframe?
We did it before up at the northern end of the trail a couple years ago. There is some workarounds, but part of the time the trail will be closed. Yeah. Unfortunately.
It worked when they did it last time.
It did.
People.
Well, it was a different
People figure
section
it
of the
out.
trail. It's a
was.
different section
It
of
was
the trail.
further down.
Can I ask about, since we're on this, can I ask about the plans for resurfacing the trail, if any?
That will come up here probably next month because there has been some thought on the trailway that we ought to renew our agreement with the municipalities in terms of grading, increase the frequency. So right now, I think we're mandated once a year to do it, but there is talk, it hadn't been finalized by the commission yet, but to do it possibly twice a year now. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's coming.
And then is there anything we can do to deter people when it's like, just starting to thaw out and really mushy from biking, walking? Because that's what really ruins it and makes it a very unpleasant ride.
I noticed that this weekend, it just
You'll
started to
take that
fall.
under
yeah.
advisement. You'll take that under advisement.
I walked my dog through today, so I have to.
It's a hard one, because you want people to
Right,
have
you
the
wanna be
freedom
on
and
the
liberty
trail.
to be outside and be on your trail and enjoy nature, but it does hurt the
Right.
surface.
It is part of nature.
Yeah.
I mean, there are native plants around
Right.
there, so that will soak it
Yep.
up if you want to help us plant some.
Any other questions, Councilmember King? First meeting, throwing these zingers out there? Okay. We'll take them off now. All right. I think the next report will be from the DDA. Councilmember Trent?
Yes, we had a meeting on February 21st at 7 PM. We had a long discussion about the social district that they have been, the DDA has been researching. And we had City Attorney Jeff Crott join us, and he gave us the rules and regulations of social districts in downtowns. And if you want to know what that is, it is back in 2020, there was a law created that allows local Michigan governments to create local districts where permits are used to designated groups or restaurants that hold liquor license. It allows customers to continue to consume adult beverages in areas between the businesses and marked containers, and then also in designated areas they can drink. So they buy a drink and they have to have a logo on the cup, so they have to have a certain cup so it's identifiable, and then they have a sticker from that, where they get the alcohol. So I got to say, I was very impressed. They benchmarked a lot of districts. Christy has been talking to a lot of DDA directors, and she mentioned Ferndale, Northville, and South Lyon. But I just want anybody to know, if they are interested about social districts and have questions about them, they had a very thorough packet. Attorney Jeff Crott he has a lot of information on them as well. We had a few more questions, so they're going to do some more research and answer the questions that were asked. The next thing, we had a joint meeting report, because we had a joint meeting of the DDA and City Council on the 19th, which was the Monday before Wednesday. And so we had a recap of that. Most felt positive about the meeting. People got to speak their mind, so we decided they're going to take the information from the direction of the council, and the DDA will move forward with that in a collaborative effort. And,
Excellent.
last but not least, anyone who participated in Food February, there are a few steps. After you dine, it's a campaign to get people, to encourage them to come to the establishments in downtown Rochester for eating and dining and carry out as well. So once you have eaten or got your carryout, you collect these restaurant receipts or carryout receipts, and then you bring the receipt. You have to bring the receipts in person for validation to enter to win the DDA downtown $500 giveaway, I believe is what it is. They're gonna, and if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me.
Nice.
Okay,
Someone's
so,
going to
yeah.
win a nice gift
Somebody's going to win
certificate.
$500. and-
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Awesome.
I have a question, and this might be, I don't know if this is for Nick or, so the process, because I did watch that meeting, and as they explained the social district, and it sounds like they're coming back with more information, because I have a lot of questions about it. How does that process work? They decide to present it to council? What are the steps?
Good question.
Yes, that is a good question. Someone, Jeff, you can jump in if you'd like, but someone has to sponsor the ask, if you will, and then come to this body to make that decision. So I think the crux of it was, because it's so affecting MDOT, we want to make sure we know where MDOT stands on this before we bring it to this council. Is that fair?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's fair. Generally, it's a DDA that kind of puts the legwork together and figures out where the district boundaries would be and kind of think through where can people drink, where can't they drink, what roads do we have involved? You have a Michigan, an MDOT road going through your city, which is not unlike Ferndale, who, so they have two districts. So, just kind of going through. So in order for anything to move forward, you would be presented with a packet and explanations and just kind of go through, because it is a liquor license control issue. And so so you would actually have to pass a resolution to establish the boundaries, the rules. There's, a full set of rules and regulations that have to be presented to you or drafted by you. And then that kind of controls the district. There's certain statutory requirements that you have to, and then, but there's also considerations that you as city council, do you shut down roads? Do you, what are the hours? Some districts have, every day from 10 to 10, that's open. Some of them are nighttime, or evening times. And so there's a lot of those considerations that I think will be hashed out first at DDA. And then if they want to proceed, then they would bring forward, and then the Liquor Control Commission has to get involved, and everybody who's in the district, the licensed establishments, say, yes, we want to be part of it, no, we don't want to be part of it, and there's a whole thing with that. So, so it's very at its infancy at this point. A lot of work to be done if they want to move it forward. But
Is
it
this
was
something that there's a public hearing for it then also? Usually, well, this is a new thing.
There would be for, I think, probably for the individual applicants, but knowing this body, you can always hold public hearings. And it just because one's not required. I mean, this city has been very interested in public input. Yeah. And you can put it out, you can put whatever you want to in the newspaper or the news flashes and everything like that to get people the opportunity to talk about it. And so I think between the DDA and then city council, that will be plenty of opportunity for public input for sure.
I was surprised how many other municipalities in the state, was it close to 300, already have social districts?
Yeah, this is not a new thing anymore, and
Yeah.
the city did consider it a little bit at DDA a few years ago when it first came out. It started out as a COVID issue,
exactly.
and it just, the popularity kind of, kept it. So, businesses, for the most part, like it. We talked to a number of communities that have them, and, we always, as municipal attorneys, we try to think of the worst case scenarios, and there's not it's been a very positive experience and I know Chief Rohib has spoken to his counterparts, and what we thought, what people thought might be real problem. You have your knuckleheads that won't follow the rules. That's a legal term.
Okay.
But so it'll be an education for sure on where the boundaries are. You have to have markings on the sidewalks or signage or placards around so people know don't drink past here. So then you got signage issues. Do you want signs? Do you want things on the sidewalk? There's lots of things that.
And I assume if it's not working, it's something you could pull back.
Absolutely.
Of course.
It's a year by year thing.
Yeah.
Oh, year by year. Good.
Yeah, you can, there's a public hearing that would be required to terminate it. But to start it and to terminate it. But the MLCC is actually found out that they don't love them. And they weren't in favor of the legislation. So they've really taken a more of a hands-off and like, you guys want them, you deal with it type approach. Which is interesting for MLCC because they usually are pretty involved in that. But yeah, we have to talk to MDOT, like Nick said, to see what, can that be included? Because
That's the
the
first step.
right-of-way is essentially building front across. So there's some things that we'll have to figure out as well.
A lot of work to be
Okay.
done, it
Yes.
sounds like, so,
Right,
okay.
lots of discussion. I think we should all do some benchmarking on social districts around the country, around the state. Some benchmarking.
I went to Chelsea. It worked out really well for me.
There you go, there you go.
Behaved myself, and I stayed
All
within the
right,
boundaries.
we've got the Historical Commission, Councilmember Sage.
Thank you. Just another public service announcement. Founder's Day is coming up. Well, that would be on Sunday, March 10th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Rochester Hills Museum at Van Heesen Farm. And the speaker is Melissa Weiss from Leader Dogs of the Blind. And there will be future Leader Dogs there, bagpiper. There will be the Shannon Irish Dance Troupe. So should be a good time.
See y'all there. Next is the joint meeting of City Council and the DDA. I'll take this one. As Councilmember Trent mentioned, we had a joint meeting. So it was kind of a rare occasion to have those two bodies together, a good discussion. It was budget focused, it was project focused, really trying to improve the collaboration between the DDA and City Council. And I think there was some, I'll say, robust discussion, as well as some agreements that we wanted to do this more often and really work on the collaboration. And specifically, I'll say from my standpoint, we have almost $1 million grant opportunity that we're looking to make the most of for our downtown. So that was then. The next is the Rochester Rah-Rah. Councilmember Jones, do you have a report on this, or were you not there?
Because I went to Lansing for that. So I know.
We can have a report out the next one.
Yeah, they met.
Right, we've just
didn't have
appointed.
representation at the last week's meeting, so.
Okay. The next one is the Retirement Board. I know Councilmember Sage, are you on this committee?
I am no longer on that.
You're no longer on it. We have our treasurer here, or city manager, if you want to speak to that.
Actually, yeah, I'm one of the board members. So we had it's like you get inside information. It's kind of cool about the world and the trends of the world. So it's in the financial, and Jessica and her team do an amazing job of going over every different fund that we have, the thought process, do we have to adjust the funds? And all of our money market managers are outperforming the benchmark, all of them. And that's the first time we could say that in a long time. So she was very pleased with the mix. We make a few adjustments to pay bills, but it's a good meeting. It's a lot of us aren't financial experts, so she dummies it down very well for everybody, that we can ask questions and not be embarrassed to ask those questions. It's a really great thing. And we talk about the cemetery fund, which is pretty much on cruise control, our pension fund, and they're all in very, very good shape. So it was a very positive meeting.
Excellent, thank you. And then City Beautiful Commission.
I'll do that one too.
Can you handle that one?
I'll just start, you were there.
Yep, go ahead.
So it was my first meeting. So we met on February 14th. I'm super excited to be involved in this commission. They do so much. I'll let Nick take it, but there was discussion about Elizabeth Park. There was discussion about the mural that's going to be, and at this point, they hadn't had any entries yet for an artist. Is that still true?
Mm-hmm.
So they're moving the date on that, the deadline, when they think that will be done. I'll let you take it from here.
So we need artists
Yeah,
to
we need
submit
artists. I
ideas.
think they were gonna go out some different directions towards that.
We did. So Christie had, exactly, yes. So somebody in-house is kind of an artist here, and we encouraged him to take a look at that. Christie gave him the whole list of what we did for the magical mural tours. It gave it to those folks. So Janine, who's our new chairman, extended the deadline so that we got the word out. I think we'll have some submissions. So it's really 4x8 panels that will be hung on the back side of the Kiwanis shelter. So it can be, we gave them some themes, like keep it something to do with the park, whether it's the trees or the ducks or the dog walking or whatever you want to do there. So I think that'll be a really cool opportunity. And they are a doer organization. I complimented them that it's really turned into that. They come up with great ideas. And the new idea was Janine went to Innovation Hills, and said, wow. But then she saw some really cool things like permanent cornhole cement cornhole things. And there are people just waiting to play that. And then a permanent foosball table made out of concrete. So they talked about maybe they could sponsor something like that next to the volleyball courts is where we're having the volleyball court over by Ludlow where we have, it's not invasive noise-wise on anybody. And what a great spot right under the trees or some shade. So they're going to look to add that to their budget request. They're looking at a Monarch festival possibly to sponsor that.
I don't know where they came up with that idea.
Yeah, I don't know either, but, and then, and the Bluebird houses, again, it's just little things. They get involved and they're monitoring the Bluebird boxes and they care about stuff. And the signage for the wetland meadows that Colin's working on. So they work very well with staff and we're talking about if we get that connecting trail from Downhill all the way through, I had seen it in Nashville, actually. On the trail, people put like 30 square foot little elbows every 100 yards down the trail. So when you're walking along, you stop and see a butterfly garden or a wildflower garden or something, instead of just a big old path that you're going through. It's really cool. So they're going to embrace that also and try to get sponsors to actually sponsor those, like adopt a garden. So people would get involved and have some ownership in it. So they're looking at all kinds of good things and we appreciate them.
They said, which I thought was great, because it troubles me too, is doing some plantings it's no longer Dillman and Upton.
Yep. Yeah, good point. So we had planted 3 trees there, and we wanted to see Dillman's and now Mann's, how they handled the winter, because they would kill everything every year that we put there by dumping all the snow with the salt. If you saw it this year, it's not pretty, but it's up on Ludlow. So we can now add more trees and screening to the trail as you come off the trail crossing Ludlow as you head into town. So they want to sponsor that. Tree Fund's got money, obviously, so we're willing to work with them on that. So good partnership.
Question.
Okay, Councilmember Trent?
Mr. Banda?
Yes, ma'am.
Colin was not going to take over the wet meadow signage.
No, not the signage, but the actual doing of it, so.
Yeah,
working on the work.
working on it. Okay, I thought you said signage.
No, no.
And I was like, I didn't know Colin made designs.
Nope, that's you guys.
Okay. All right. Item 12, do we have any other public comment tonight?
Rose?
Rose, do we have any other public comment? I only see yourself and Christian Hauser, so Councilmember. So Rose, I think you said there's.
No one's online. Can you hear me good?
Yes, loud and clear, thank you. Councilmember Hauser, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you very much. It was a great meeting, and I'll see everyone back at the next one in March.
Come home soon. All right, so let's move on to general and miscellaneous, so I'll go down the line. Jeremy, as the acting clerk tonight, thank you. Thank you for pinch hitting. It's an election season, so our clerks have been very busy.
No comment, thank you.
Mm-hmm. City manager report?
Yeah, and I was going to thank Jeremy and Rose for stepping in. You know, we've got everybody kind of covering everybody these days. And Leanne and Brian had a great pre-voting days, early voting days. I think we had 285 people show up. So they manned a lot of hours here, and they did a great job. And we heard nothing but compliments for how everything went down. So tomorrow's the big day. Everybody get out and vote. There'll be a lot of activity here. The ladies are upstairs doing what they do, preparing for this. It takes a whole army of people to pull off these elections, and they're doing a great job, and appreciate that. Other than that, Planning Commission's going to be very active. Sarah, you're going to miss it, I'm sure, but we have a lot of items in March, and in April coming up, we're stacking them up now, and some big developments that some of them will make it through to City Council as special projects, and others are straight site plans. So hopefully, we can see some of these things get built if they get approved. I think it's hopefully everything's adjusting. The biggest one, quite frankly, is Pfizer, and this is exciting for the country. Mm-hmm. So they're looking at a $250 million investment over at Pfizer to bolster our penicillin situation. They're the only ones that make it in the United States, so it's a massive project. Most $200 million of it is equipment, which is a lot.
Really?
So, yeah, they're working hard out there. You can see the surveyors, we gave them permission to work on Saturday. They're out there getting it ready to go, so
there
hopefully.
will be a building, they're adding on.
Add a second story, the existing building in the back, so they're doing their pre-engineering, all that good stuff. So speaking of that, the elevator has got through engineering, so we worked out with AEW and Giffords Webster for the elevator site to minimize the digging of the bad dirt. There's some really bad dirt on that site. So Oakland County commission, Oakland County engineering was great, so we reduced our, how much water do we have to store on site from 100-year to a 10-year because of the way we can outlet the water, which means we dig up a lot less bad dirt. You don't want that stuff touched. It's really bad. So you're going to see activity in the ground there pretty soon.
Good.
And they'll get going. And they continue to work with the historic group too about how to function with the elevator and how that's going to be in the end. So that's great. So looking forward to an active spring here. That's it.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember King?
Nothing for me tonight.
Thank you for being here. Thanks. Councilmember Sage?
Nothing this evening?
Councilmember Jones?
Just a ditto on voting tomorrow. Please, everyone go vote tomorrow. By the numbers that we've already gotten, I'm kind of surprised how much in mail-in and how many people came in for the early voting, which is great that that opportunity was there for them. So, you know, I feel the most important thing on there, well, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, the RCS millage is very important, so do your research and please vote tomorrow. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is we had the second of 3 meetings about the budget, and I was so incredibly impressed by the city employees and the whole piece they did on how they're trying to save money. I cannot say enough of the labor hours spent on trying to make sure that they have every dollar being spent the right way. So kudos to even the presentation, RC, and just kudos to the work they're doing to save money for the city. I wouldn't have known that, you know, so thank you to.
No, Mayor, if I may, and that came from you, I'm going to give you credit. You've been talking about it's not just transparency, it's like get the word out so people know what you're doing, because it's good work. It's really good work that's being done. And if you don't share it, people don't understand the depth that we go to. It's not a rubber stamp city council asking for a budget. So everybody takes it serious. And staff seriously appreciates that you guys appreciate it, you know, not just to say that it's true. It's a lot of grind them up hours. Marcy and Anthony, they are very creative and really good communicators. That's what I like. You guys talked about make it so that we could share it with our constituents, right? If you go online or whatever you do, you can figure it out at any level, and then we're here to answer any questions. So appreciate the thank yous, but it's really, that team is amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know Anthony was still here, so I just gave it all to Marcy, so thank you.
Yeah, we
Sorry, I'll keep the focus.
She's got, she has white on, you're
Right.
kind of not in the
that's right.
eye line. She's over, actually, she's sitting there
She was
going like
waving.
this, and she's
Yes.
like, but no.
Yes. It's a great team.
It's a great team.
finance
It's a great team. That's right.
Yep, it's obvious.
I have one more thing before I go, because Nick, I don't know if you wanted to say this about RCS, that we did do the one more meeting. I think
Absolutely.
that's
We should talk about that.
important to keep out. So you can take it from
Mayor, do you with that? Yep. So at our Saturday meeting, we talked about opportunities, right? And we know that the admin building is a huge opportunity for this community. So after talking about it, some people might have saw an article in the paper that was pretty generic talking about, we know what's there. We thank the school board folks and Dr. Silveri and his staff. They came in, met with us to just do an exploration meeting to say, okay, we are interested, but we don't know exactly how we're interested yet. We know it's a big ticket item, but we know we owe it to the folks to let either the voters vote to see if they would like to participate financially or explain to the voters why what we can do with one mission, save the building. Don't really care how we save the building at this point. It could be not responsible for the city. We don't have tens of millions of dollars sitting around to do it, but we're going to explore every venue that we can to find a way to save that building and have the least impact we can on the neighbors. So already had some great meetings with the other side. They shared with us a lot of great information that cuts down our ability to have to waste money with consultants trying to figure it out. They did a really good job a few years ago, so we're just taking that information. We'll be back in front of council. I think you guys gave us 30 days to try to get something here to talk about what steps could we take, what's the ramifications of those steps, and then communicate that with the school board. They had a willingness to give us a little bit of time. They're not in a big rush, so nobody's going to do anything irrational in that building. So it's safe and sound for now. We'll do really good homework on it. We've already begun on it deeply, so I think that was a great opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, Councilmember Jones, thank you. You know, when you came on to the council, you know, your background, you've got a lot of background in the schools, and you've just jumped into that. So thank you. Thank you for bringing your expertise. And, you know, what I always like about a good team is when people have, like, whatever lane they're in or whatever their strength is, and everyone just run in your lane, and then we all win. So thank you. Councilmember Trent?
Well, I was going to reiterate what Councilmember Jones said, that I was so impressed with the meeting that we had, the goals and objectives meeting, the second one. I mean, I liked the first one too, but the second one was an extra amount of work that Anthony and Marcy put together to really try to communicate to us what they do to save money. And not only are they saving money by looking under every rock, it was impressive that, you know, they have these vendors relationships, but they are pushing their vendors to make sure you guys have to check up on them because, you know, I have a business. People push me a little bit. I might, you know, what they call sharpen the pencil. I don't think you actually are. I don't know what they do with how they call it in the analogy with computers, but you really are. You know, trying to, you know, say, okay, or explain why is this being charged. So I really appreciate that. I also would reiterate what Mayor Pro Tem Salvia said about Councilmember Jones, is it was interesting relationship with this building that was started, and, you know, we all saw that. No one knew what to do, and it was getting a little bumpy, but it was so nice to have somebody that knew the schools, had a really good relationship with the schools, sort of bridge that gap and try to open up the conversation, because this city of people, I wasn't raised here, but many people were, and that building is so meaningful to the community, the Rochester community, greater Rochester community.
So true. Excellent. So let's see, for myself, I also want to comment on the budget workshop. It was excellent, lots of hard work, lots of good discussions. We talked about the community house, we talked about the admin building, and then we have one more budget workshop. So Saturday, March 23rd. So another Saturday opportunity for council to gather and administration to gather and crunch those numbers. Also coming up this week is the Community Outlook Breakfast. I sure hope Mayor Vixen is feeling back to 100% for this one. So it's this Thursday morning. You know, the videos have been created and all of that. So hopefully as many as council members can be there. It is sold out. I want to thank all the election workers. Early voting it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. It's Saturdays, it's Sundays, but people really do love the flexibility and being able to come in and do that. And then my last thank you was to Chief George with the new police report. We all got a copy, and I know this is going to be distributed and available online. It was a great mix of detail and summary of everything amazing that has happened in 2023 in the police department.
May I have one more too? No.
Yep. Councilmember Trent?
Apparently, coffee with the mayor has turned into me tomorrow.
Good. Thank you for doing that for me.
At Rochester Hills Public Library.
Yes.
At
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. And if you have any questions, I just didn't want anybody to be surprised.
They'd be thrilled. They get to meet with Councilmember Trent.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes,
You
awesome.
can meet with Councilmember Trent.
Yes.
With your
City
questions.
Manager, back to you.
Yeah, one last thing. So Chief George also, that's an awesome report. And then we've had some queries about communicating about the new parking things going on. So you all know that what's behind the scenes, but we're going to do a little better job of communicating. Hours went to 11:11. The fines went up. Nobody should have to get fined. Just put your money in the meter, and we don't want to write one ticket ever. That's our goal in life, right? But we're getting all new software for cashless entry into the decks. You'll still be able to use your coins on the meters, but Chief George has got a pamphlet that he's put on. It goes from A to Z about everything. We'll have a bunch of them printed off, get them to all the businesses, get them online, get them in social media, so nobody will have a question about the parking system and how it's funded and all that good stuff. So it's a great document, and we're just wrapping it up in the next day or so. And then at the same time, we're working on our newsletter for the spring, so if anybody's got anything they'd like to get in there, we're just about having that wrapped up. So again, a team's doing that, and then we found somebody that's going to put it together for us, and we'll have that out. Our goal is to get it to the printer like in a couple of weeks, and then have it there in April. to the inside of everybody.
Thank you. And you'll send that parking information to council?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Thank you.
I just got information, sorry.
One more for Councilmember Trent.
This is what happens when you're doing this. I just got information that it's coffee is at OPC.
You're right, yeah, it
It's
is at OPC.
Okay, I don't know
Sorry.
where I got that. So
We're at the library. It's
4:30?
Yeah.
4:30, coffee with the mayor / Councilmember Trent.
Yes, at
And-
OPC,
and-
social
It's at OPC.
activities.
And Stuart will be back.
Stuart will be back, yes, Mayor Bixon will be back.
Yes, absolutely. With that, I'm going to say meeting is adjourned at 8:25.